Hi, and welcome to today's practice. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. We're still working with Kapha in the spring season, and we are also working with the lymphatic system, but we're working with it in a little bit more of a yin energy type of class. So toning it down, softening it down, and making it a little more relaxing. Sometimes we get so busy in the spring, and instead of more action, we need to calm down a little bit. And this is also a really nice practice to combine during the week with your more yang type of practices that you do. So you'll need a couple of blocks for sure. If you don't have blocks, a blanket that you can roll up for a support in your shavasana for a heart opener, and maybe a strap. And I think that is all you're going to need. So let's go ahead and get started. Have your props ready. And we're going to start with your blocks. So we'll see you on your mat. All right, let's get started in this yin energy class, seated, and have both your blocks and or your rolled up blanket. So try the block version first, setting the block closest to your seat at a higher level than the block at the top of your mat. And then lay back so that the block, whichever height you've chosen, comes to your shoulder blades. And then as you lay back, you can determine what height you need your block for your head to be at. And if this, you try a few heights and it's just uncomfortable for you, if it's too intense, then take that rolled up blanket and place it lengthwise under your spine, as we have in several of our previous classes, to create this opening. But if you can find comfort in this block position that I'm doing, then take that. You can also bend your knees into Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can have your knees bent with soles of the feet on the floor, or extend your legs long down on the floor. We're going to be staying here for about 5 minutes, creating this heart opening in a passive, relaxing way. So we spend a lot of our day in activity and doing. So today's class is geared towards the Kapha season and the Kapha parts of our body, which is the chest and the lymphatic system. So take some moments just to lay back on your prop, whichever way you've set yourself up, and just breathe deeply. Close your eyes and allow yourself to come into some stillness. Take this time in your stillness to really connect with your breath. And allow each inhale to create expansion in the heart center. And each exhale to allow you to settle back a little bit more. And what you want to be experiencing here is expansion and openness, not pain. Be able to feel the breath with an exaggerated inhale to create more warmth in the body. And feel the whole capacity for the breath. This is helping for the lymph that drain the head and the neck, as well as the heaviness of the chest that is related to Kapha. Breathing deeply, especially on your inhale, and creating that openness and expansion with each breath. And see where you can let go in some part of your body that you might be holding. Take this time of stillness to notice where that might be and mindfully release. If you wish, for these last few moments, you can bring your feet into Supta Baddha Konasana with soles of the feet together and knees open. Or you can remain in whatever position you currently are in. In Supta Baddha Konasana with feet together and knees open, it begins to stimulate the lymph in the groins, which is very, a lot of lymphatic tissue in that area. Enjoy these last few moments in this expansive posture. Staying connected with mindful breath. And then bring your knees to an upright position with the soles of the feet on the mat, if you're not already there. And we're going to prepare to roll off of our props to our left side into fetal position. And just remain there for a few breaths before we shift. Just feeling that gentle curve back into your spine. Your head resting on your left arm. And then you can begin to clear your props out of the way, and we're going to lie back on our back once again. So as you come onto your back, bring your hands just to the back of your skull to support your head, and just lift your head an inch or two up off the mat with your elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. And just let your head cradle here, and not lifting your head high. We're just counteracting the back bend with the neck drawn back here. So just cradling the head and letting the head fall into your hands. Stay connected to your breath at the same time here. And then you can release your head down. And we're going to draw the right knee into the chest, into Apanasana, wind relieving pose. So you can start with a little bit of stillness. And this is helping with our sluggish Kapha digestion, and also compressing that lymph tissue in the groin here. And then we'll start a little bit of like a pumping action. As you inhale, allow the knee to come away from your torso. And then as you exhale, slowly press it back in. So it becomes like a gentle pumping action, which stimulates not only the lymphatic tissues, but also the digestion. Just nice and gentle, just moving a few inches and pulling back in a few inches, nothing drastic. Less is more here. A few more breaths. The inhale, knee moves away to make space. The exhale, we compress. Gentle and slow as we calm the nervous system. And then come to your furthest position towards your chest and begin to roll the ankle, I should say. And roll it in both directions. You can change directions a couple of times. And then we're going to begin to shake the foot out. So releasing the shin and just letting your foot flop as you shake your foot up and down, side to side. And then release the arms and begin to circle the whole leg. You can keep your knee bent, draw it all the way to one side, and then cross the body all the way to the other side. And see if you can sync your breath with this movement. And using the exhale as the thigh comes closer to the torso, and the inhale as it moves away. Keep moving again. You can change directions now. Again, this is very stimulating in the groin area. And with your arms wide, opening up that area of the armpits, another area of concentrated lymphatic tissue. Keep moving the leg. So we're warming up the hip joint, but really our focus is that compression and release in the lymphatic tissue of the groin. And then as you come across, we've got our right leg over to the left side of your mat, coming into a supine twist. You could place a block under your knee if you wish, and you can place that left hand on the top of the thigh just to support it. And allow your head to be in whatever direction is comfortable. And then we begin to circle our right arm, staying in the twist. Just begin to draw circles, big, expansive circles with that right arm. And being mindful of anything you've got going on in your shoulder as to how far you go. And then switch directions. Circle your arm in the other direction. So again, we've got some compression going on in the groin, and we're stimulating in the armpit area. Really working to start moving that lymphatic fluid that can be sluggish, especially in the spring during Kapha season. And then go ahead and release the arm down into stillness of your twist. And again, turn your head whatever direction is comfortable. It might be away from your knee. It might be looking straight up to the ceiling, or it might even be looking towards your knee. Choose what's appropriate for you today. Stay connected to mindful breath here. Closing the eyes and finding some stillness and rest in this posture. The energy of yin. The energy of the new moon that's coming up this Saturday. Actually, by the time you see this class, it will have passed. But we'll still be in the energy of the new moon. And slowly begin to ease your way back out of the twist. Let that right foot ground down on your mat for a moment. Let the pelvis settle. And then draw the knee in once again and bring your hands to the back of the thigh and straighten the leg up to the sky. So the sole of the foot reaching to the sky and pressing the thigh into the hands as you resist with your hands, and then begin to circle the foot. So just rolling at the ankle. And we're going to go in both directions. You'll probably find one direction's easier than the other. If you haven't changed directions, change direction. So this is helping. Again, we're moving from the periphery of the body down the leg and into the torso with the lymphatic fluid. So this circling begins to pump the lymphatic fluid. And from here, you're going to find a place to hold on to. So if you can reach your toes, do. You can also grab your calf or your ankle or use a strap on your foot. And then use your other hand, make a fist, and we're going to tap the back of the thigh. And I'd start from the bottom towards the buttocks and tap your way up to the back of the knee. And again, this is stimulating all that lymphatic tissue, moving things around. And it actually feels really good on the back of the hamstring. It may look and seem weird, but it feels really good. So keep tapping, moving from closest to your mat to up towards the back of your knee. And you can switch hands if you wish, so you can get to the outer or inner thigh, depending whichever side you started with. And just tapping a few more rounds, moving your way up, noticing the sensations. And then bend the knee again, hold on to the shin or the back of the thigh for just a moment. And bend your left knee now. We're moving into thread the needle. So we're going to start it out a little bit differently. So your ankle is just kind of at the bottom of your thigh or the top of your knee. And grab your block that hopefully you have handy. And we're going to press that right leg, the leg that's crossed, away from you. So you can press at your knee, you can press in the middle of your thigh, I like the sensation of holding the block closest to my groin and pushing away. And what that does is it helps create a little bit of length in the low back and sacrum area. And for me, that's where I have a lot of issues, so that's where it feels best for me. But experiment in the different spots from your groin up to your knee as to what feels best for you. And choose that. And you're not pushing super hard, you're just giving some gentle pressure to create a little more space. And your left foot is still grounded on your mat. And keep the right foot flexed. And then you have option where release that, and you can place, for some of you who are very tight, placing that block underneath your left foot might be exactly where you stay. That might be enough. Some of you are going to thread your arm between your legs and draw in by holding on to the shin or the back of your thigh. And you want to feel the sensation in the right hip, which is the leg that is crossed. Try to keep your tailbone, your sacrum, down on the mat. Sometimes in an attempt to go deeper, we let the sacrum and tailbone roll up, so we're almost curling up. But try to keep it down on the mat. And then you can begin to roll the left ankle, so the leg you're holding on to. Breathe into any spaces where you're feeling the tension, keeping that right foot flexed and rolling the left ankle. And then you can choose, you can stay in stillness, or I really like the sensation of rocking from side to side, staying in your thread the needle, but just that sensation of rocking side to side and feeling how that changes as you rock from one side to the other, the sensations. Now go ahead and release down out of it. Ground both feet before we move to second side. Take a breath or two here with both feet down, and then draw both knees in. And we're going to start to circle the knees, so circling them wide apart and drawing them back together and into the chest. And we're going to change direction, so don't worry if you started in the opposite direction of pushing away and then bringing the knees apart and drawing them back in. So we're just circling, getting into the hips, the groins once again in a little bit different way. If you didn't change directions, go ahead and change. And if one direction felt particularly good, spend a little longer there. Then you can just rock from side to side, and then keeping both knees together, begin to circle both knees in the same direction, and then go the opposite direction. And then draw the knees in towards the chest, release back, and draw in. So again, that pumping action. Now we reach both fingertips and both feet up to the sky into dead bug and shake. Shake your legs, shake your arms, shake your hands, and notice the sensation as you continue shaking that you start feeling in your feet and your legs. That actually feels really great, even though it looks like a baby having a tantrum. Keep going, keep shaking, whatever way feels right for you. There's not a wrong way. And then you can release. Let the soles of the feet come down and just notice the sensations here. And then with feet wide on your mat, just slowly windshield washer your knees from side to side. I like the sensation of the feet wide on the mat because it gets a little more into the groin and side body that we're working with here. And go nice and slow with slow breath, using the exhale to allow the knees to drop to the side and the inhale to come back to center, and keep the breath and movement slow. And you can even linger at the bottom into your twist a little bit longer if you wish, where it feels really juicy. Couple more rounds. And then coming back to center, we're going to get ready to start with our second side. Just taking a moment's pause here before we move into it. And then we're going to draw left knee, left thigh in and straighten the right leg if that feels appropriate for you. If it's too much, you can keep that right knee bent. So just start with stillness, and then you can begin to rotate the ankle of that left foot. Rotate in the other direction. Maybe you want to switch it up again. So you go both directions several times. And then come back to stillness, and we begin our pulsing with our breath. So allowing the inhale to expand the leg away from you. And as you exhale, use the leg to compress more breath out of the body. Just let this be a soft, gentle pulse, just like the rise and fall of your chest and the rise and fall of your belly. Allow the leg to be part of that. Keep the movement going with slow, steady breath. And again, it doesn't have to be huge movements, they're just subtle movements. And then you can come into some stillness when you're ready. And then go ahead and release your leg and just with the knee bent, shake the foot out. Let your foot be floppy, let your ankle be floppy, and just shake the lower leg, so shake the foot out. And then draw it in once again. And then we begin to make those leg circles. So drawing the knee all the way across the body and wide open to the other side. Just making big circles with your knee. At some points you might even move your leg to a little bit straighter, or you might keep the knee bent. Getting into that hip. Go the other direction, of opposite of whatever you were just doing. Nice big circles. Feel that energy in the hip and feel the energy in the groin as you move that leg around. Move it however it feels good to you before we finish up with the leg circles here. And then bringing the leg over and across into our twist. And if you would like a prop under your knee, like a block or a blanket or a bolster, you can do that. And we begin to circle that left arm now. Your right hand can be on the outside of that knee. And the left arm is circling. Whatever circle is appropriate for anything that might be going on in your shoulder. And then let's move that arm in the opposite direction. One direction might feel easier than the other. Just notice without judging. And then release that circling of the arm and come into stillness of your twist. Allow your head, your gaze to be whatever direction feels most appropriate for you today. Bring mindful awareness to the breath once again. The breath is so key to everything we do in yoga. Notice the openness and expansiveness in the heart center in this twist. A few more breaths here. Enjoying the sensations, the unwinding of the torso, the outer hip. And then slowly come back to center. And just pause here for a moment. You can release the foot down and just rest the leg there. Bend both knees, soles of the feet on the mat for a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and re-extend the right leg and reach the left foot up to the ceiling. Intertwine fingers behind the thigh, reaching through your heel and pressing the thigh into the hands and resisting with the hands. So we've done this in class before. It's like a reset for the sacrum. It's a great inversion for the leg as well. You begin to make your ankle circles, working from the periphery, working the fluids up the leg. And circle your ankle in both directions. Switching it up, noticing which way is easier, which way there's more catches in your ankle. And you can also point and flex your toes as well. It stimulates the calf muscles and moves the lymphatic fluid. And then just come to stillness for a moment. So now we're going to grab your toes, your ankle, your calf, or use a strap on your foot. We're going to start the tapping of the hamstring. So making a little fist and working our way from buttocks up to the back of the knee, stimulating the hamstring and all that connective tissue, lymphatic fluid, lymphatic tissue in the back of the leg. Again, you can switch hands so that you can get either inner or outer thigh, depending which hand you started with. And working from the part of your leg closest to the floor up to the back of the knee and towards the calves. And then go ahead and bend that leg, draw it back in, draw both knees into your chest. Take a moment to just rock from side to side here. That always feels good. And we're moving into thread the needle on this second side. So grab your block and find that spot, knee, middle of the thigh, or close to the groin, to press away from you. Create some length and some space. So that left foot is flexed. The right foot is still grounded down on your mat. Breathe into the sensations. And you should have sensations, but not pain, in anything that we're doing in class. Again, you can experiment different positions of your block, because it might feel different on this side than it did on the first side. It's another breath or two here with the block. And then we're going to release the block. Some of you might place that block under your right foot and stay right there. And some of you are going to draw that right leg in closer to your torso to bring a little more sensation into that left hip. And you can grab the back of your thigh or the front of your shin. And then you can begin circling that right ankle. And we'll do both directions. And then if you like the sensation of the rocking from side to side in your thread the needle, go ahead and initiate that. You can change the sensations in both hips as you rock from side to side. And then come back to stillness. Keeping that left foot flexed. Breathing into any tension in the hips that you're feeling and releasing through the exhale, making space with the inhale. And noticing that little bit of sensation of compression in the low belly and the groins. Go ahead and release the right foot down, uncross, ground both feet, knees bent. And just take a moment here, letting the sacrum ground before we draw the knees into the chest and begin our knee circles. So again, we're going to go in both directions. So start in whatever direction you feel like, and then we'll switch it up shortly. So try connecting with your breath as the knees come closer to the torso, that is your exhale. And as they move away, that is your inhale, regardless of the direction you're going. And go ahead and switch it up if you have not switched up your direction. Again, just noticing the sensations in the hip joint itself as well as in the groins as we move the thigh bones around in the hips. And then bring your knees together and begin to make circles with both knees together. So we're not parting the knees any longer, but making circles. It's almost like a massage on the back of the sacrum. Reach both legs up to the sky, reach both arms up to the sky, and begin shaking. Shake and shimmy. Get all that energy, all that fluid moving. Keep shaking. Notice how your feet and hands feel as you continue here. Keep going. There's not a right or wrong way to shake. Just keep shaking, shimmying. Couple more breaths. And go ahead and bend the knees, release out of that. You can release both feet down to the mat. And again, the feet wide on your mat before we move in is really nice to get into the groin. But if that's not comfortable for you, you can bring your feet hip width as well. And same as we did on the first side, allow your your exhale breath to take you out to the side. Your inhale brings you back to center. And move slow and mindfully, lingering in the twist and connecting with your breath. Allow that lingering at the bottom of your exhale to be a restful pause before you move into your mindful inhale to center. And then come back to center and just take a moment's pause here again. Taking time between each movement we do to notice sensations. And now we're moving into supported bridge. So grab your block, your bolster, whatever it is you're going to use to support yourself in your bridge pose. And as you lift into bridge, place the prop of your choice under the sacrum, the bony part of the back of the pelvis, so that you can be in this inversion of bridge without effort. If you find it's uncomfortable on your block and your sacrum's very sensitive, you can place a blanket over your block to bring a little more cushioning. And if you have a bolster or a big blanket you can roll up, you can also use that. And if you're using a block, remember you can have the block on any of the 3 heights that are available from your block. Let your arms be slightly away from your sides. And just check in with your neck and make sure that none of the vertebrae of your neck are resting on the floor. There should be no vertebrae on the floor so that you can maintain that gentle C curve in the back of your neck. And now one leg at a time, draw your knees into your chest and straighten the legs up to the sky. So now we're in a supported bridge pose shape. So we're allowing this inversion to let gravity work with our fluids in the leg, not only our lymphatic fluid, but also the drainage of the blood flow, so that the heart doesn't have to work as hard to pump the blood back up our legs. And we allow gravity to assist that. Let your eyes close. Let yourself imagine a stream, a trickle of a waterfall, trickling from your toes, down your ankles and your calves, down your thighs, into the pool of the belly. And from the belly, your little stream all the way up to the heart center, where our largest lymph nodes reside. Allowing this movement of the fluids of the lymphatic system to be replenished, to rejuvenate the cells, as this system is responsible for our inflammatory responses in our body, for our immunity, for the health of our nervous system, and so much more. So you can go ahead and gently begin to release down and out of the posture by bringing the feet down to your mat and pausing here before we move out a bridge, just to allow the body to recalibrate here. And when you feel ready, you can gently and slowly lift the hips up higher, slide your prop out from underneath you, and slowly let everything touch down on your mat. And then just pause here. Stay here for a couple of breaths before we move into any of our counter poses. Then you can draw your knees in and rock from side to side to release any tension in your back, especially the low back. And it's a nice little massage on the sacrum. And then release your arms out to the side as you allow your knees to drop to one side. I've dropped to the right side, but if you've dropped to the left, that's fine too. Allow your eyes to close. If you need a block either between your knees or under your knees, or a cushion, please prop as needed. We're going to come back to center and rock from side to side a couple of times as you give yourself a hug before we open up to the opposite side. And just relax into that and use props as needed. Close your eyes. Stay connected to your breath. And then on your next inhale, slowly come back to center. We're going to do one more round of twists. Just rock from side to side and center a few times. And then you have the option of moving into the cross-legged twist. So we're going to start with left leg over right, and then dropping knees over to your right side. If this is too much or not appropriate for something that's going on in your body, please uncross the legs and just stack your knees and do a second round the same as the first. Otherwise, let your head roll opposite. Let your arms be wide. And breathe into the twist once again. Allow the heart center to be expansive, the shoulders and the neck to be relaxed. And notice where the sensations are. Slowly make your way back to center to uncross the legs and ground both feet down for a couple of breaths before we move to second side. Let's go ahead and cross the right thigh over the left, and then let your knees drop left. And one side can be different than the other. If this feels too intense on this side, again, same as before, uncross and just stack your knees. Use props under the knees if you need. Arms wide, possibly letting your head roll opposite of your knees. Notice the breath moving in and out of that expansive heart center. Notice sensations in the side body, maybe the sacrum, the outer hips, the front shoulders or the front of the chest. And allow softness anywhere you can allow it to unfold. Come back to center on an inhale, uncross. Again, ground both feet, pause here. And then draw your knees in one more time. Rock however you wish. And you can either move into Happy Baby as our last pose before Shavasana. If you're ready for Shavasana, you can just lengthen your legs out. I also like to do a little version of Happy Baby where you straighten one leg out and then the other. You don't need to do this version. It's just one that feels good for me. You can stay in your regular Happy Baby pose, or perhaps rocking from side to side in Happy Baby. And then let's release the feet down. Find sweaters and socks, blankets, whatever you need to be comfortable in your Shavasana. And let's just take a moment to settle. To notice the effects of anything that you can feel in your body right now. Energetically, maybe you're more aware of the fluids moving in your body right now. Maybe you're aware of a feeling of well-being. Just take a moment to notice, to absorb, and to just be until I guide you out of your Shavasana. If you wish to have a little bit more opening in the heart center as you come into your stillness of Shavasana, you can also lie on that rolled up blanket with it going the same length as your spine. But just choose stillness, softness, and release. Very slowly begin to deepen your breath. Begin to initiate gentle movements in the body. And when you're ready, roll to your right side and make your way up to a seat for meditation. As you make your way to your seat, take a moment to get yourself seated and settled, whether you're sitting in a chair, on a prop, or leaning up against the wall. And feel into this new position, allowing your bones to become heavy and your spine to become tall. And then bring one hand to your heart and place the other hand on top. And feel into the heart in a gesture of soothing, grounding, listening, and connecting. And let your wise self ask your inner child, how are you? How are you? And then notice as the body inhales, the chest gently rises. And as you exhale, the chest slightly falls. And perhaps as you exhale, you even press the chest a bit with your hands on your heart center. As you inhale, the body receives air. And as you exhale, notice the air and space around the body receiving the exhale. Just stay with this breath, noticing the rise and fall for a few more rounds. And then release your hands to your thighs or your knees or even beside your body if you chose to lie down. And bring awareness to the navel center. And notice how as the body moves the breath in, the navel moves away from the spine. And as the body moves the breath out, how the navel moves towards the spine. Notice how the breath is a tool of regulation for the body and the nervous system, bearing witness as to how the body breathes in and how the body breathes out. And now we will begin a 4-count breath, inhaling to a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, holding the top of the exhale for 3, 2, 1, and then exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1, pausing once again at the bottom of the exhale for 3, 2, 1. And again, inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release for 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue exploring this rhythm and movement of breath on your own for the next few moments. Releasing any tension that you might be holding in the body, even on your breath retentions. And now bringing awareness to the back of the body, at the base of the spine, where the spine meets the pelvis. And staying with your 4-count breath as you inhale, imagine a stream of water moving up the spine for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. And holding the breath in as you bring awareness to the top of the skull for your count of 4. And as you release for your exhale for a count of 4, imagine a waterfall washes down the front of the body as you hold for a count of 4. Continue repeating on your own, with your own river moving up to the top of the skull, and the waterfall washing down the body in this circle of breath. The inhale, the river washes up to the skull. And the exhale, the waterfall washes down the body. Continue for one more round of breath, your 4-count breath. And then releasing this counting, flowing breath now wherever you are. Allowing the breath to be easy and natural. Noticing a sense of effortlessness. Sensing your breath as your spirit self, and the center of the body as the house of the soul. And sensing how the spirit of the breath interacts with the center of your soul. Feeling how and where these two worlds collide, meet, merge, and come together. Stay with the breath for just a few more rounds. And then gently bring your hands softly to touch at your heart center. Take a deep inhale through your nose and gently sigh the breath out on your exhale through the mouth. And then take one more inhale to close our practice with one Om. Namaste. Enjoy your day and see you next time.